What's going on, guys? BINGOhhh here, and today I wanted to profile you the Going Second Sky Striker deck that I played at this weekend's sneak peek, the Rising Rampage. So this is the new July 2019 ban list with 1 multi-roll and 3 Solemn Judgment. So the 1 multi-roll hurt this deck a lot, but as I'm going through the profile, I'm gonna be explaining why or why not I will continue to play this deck and what changes I would make. It was 4 rounds, and I did take first because the Duel Factory wanted to lose his match, so I didn't play him in the finals. But without further ado, let's get into the profile, starting with the main deck. Obviously, 3 Sky Striker Ace Ray. So the problem with this deck post-ban list is you lost a lot of consistency, not just with multi-roll and being able to set the cards, but you lost access to Ray because you lost 1 Terraforming, which is 1 copy of Area 0, and your consistent way to pop Area 0 to get to Ray. So you see this card a lot less, and it makes it a lot harder to play the deck than I first thought it would. And then for hand traps, this is a going second list, so I'm playing 3 Ash. It's just everyone said Ash for 2 years, so I don't have to explain it anymore. 3 Ogre. This card was surprisingly lackluster. I don't know if it was the matchups I was playing against, because I played against Danger Thunder. Honestly, I forgot the other ones, but it just really never came up. These would probably be better off if they were Veilers, which I did side, and most of the time I just swapped them out. So going forward, I need to play against more meta decks to see if this is good, but as of right now, I don't really think it is, but maybe it'll make your Danger Thunder deck or matchup a lot better. And then I'm just going to go with the hand traps, the 3 Impermanents, and 3 Evenly Matched. Like I said, this is going second. Evenly Matched was performed surprisingly well. I don't know if it's just because people don't know how to play around it game 1, or my locals is full of people that don't really know the game that well. But surprisingly, this card was awesome, and if I do play a going second deck in the future, such as this, Invoked, or not Invoked, but Necros, I'm probably going to continue to play this card because this format right now, it's really undefined, so it is performing very well. And then getting onto the spells, we have 3 copies of Mobilize Engage. Nothing's changed there. Honestly, if this card went to 2 and Widow Anchor went to 2 and we didn't lose multi-roll, the deck would be significantly better. The 1 hit to multi-roll is extremely not good for the deck. 3 Widow Anchor, 3 Area 0. So like I said, you're really reliant on proccing this card to see Ray. And without multi-roll, you have to find another way to do that, which you'll see later on in the deck profile. 3 Shark Cannon. This card is just good generic disruption. It does hurt a lot of decks in the current format. Banishing Banelinks, banishing a target to be revived by something. It's just good generic disruption, and you need more Sky Striker cards that do something, that give you a body on board, because you're not going to be able to consistently set Widow Anchors off your multi-roll anymore, so you're not going to have that reliable form of link material through just repeated use of Widow Anchor. So, and then we have 1 multi-roll. I can complain about this all day, but I'm not going to. And then the rest of the 1-ofs, we have 1 Drones, as good as ever. Going second, I'm only playing 1 Eagle Booster. If I was playing a more control going first style of deck, I would definitely play 2, just so you can guarantee your first Shizuku or Kagari resolve more often. And then 1 Afterburners, great generic removal. Jamming Waves actually performed extremely well because this is one of the cards that you can proc Area 0 off of. This is one of the cards that just, it's really helpful going second because you can clear problem back row if they leave 1 set card after you evenly them. It just really helps you play through game 1 scenarios. Hercules base, you are so reliant on this card that it honestly becomes a crutch, because if you can't resolve this card, your grind game is just not there. And then for the non-Sky Striker cards, we're playing the Foolish Barrow Goods engine, being 2 Goods and 1 Metal Foes Fusion. It's pretty standard at this point. I never did enjoy 3 copies of Foolish Burial Goods because if you open 2 of this card, it just feels really bad. It's a great setup, but you don't have to see it every time. This is a card that I'll probably bump up to 3. MST is it's good going second to clear problem cards, but it's also really good for activating your equip spell, I forget the name, and your field spell for summoning Ray. Because if you don't see Ray, you can't play. Like, I don't care. Like, you need ways to see Ray, and there's only so many searchers you can play. You can only play one Rhoda, one terraforming, and you just struggle really hard in the grind game. Then for the one-off spells, one Rhoda, as always, one terraforming, one upstart, and then we have one Mystic Mine and one double or nothing. So at least once a match, I fell back onto having to rely on Mystic Mine after my opponent set up and then just attacking directly with Hayate because I just didn't see enough either copies of Engage or I didn't hard open multi-roll. So that's what the deck is so reliant on other pieces of support that it just can't stand on its own too much anymore. So it's really unfortunate. I don't think I'm going to play this coming this format because it just loses to too many things. The double or nothing combo, I will not play it again. Maybe if Salamangreat becomes more represented again, but there's just not enough targets for Shark Cannon to bring back the level 4, at least in my testing, as well as the tournament itself. All right, on to the extra deck. 1 Kagari, unfortunately, feels bad. 3 Hayate. This card is honestly one of the MVPs right now. Without this card, you literally can't play over half the games. 3 Shizuku, standard. I opted for 2 Kaina. I've considered 3, but if you are at the point where you need 3, most of the time you're losing that game because you weren't able to resolve your Hercules base and you're just struggling to stay in the fight. For your generic links, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Nightmare Unicorn. Then we have 1 BLS. I wouldn't play this card again in Sky Striker. It's really good, but every time it came up, I'd rather make Unicorn or just keep climbing into like a Boral Sword or something. And then 1 Boral Sword Dragon, and then the Utopia double and Utopia. Again, I wouldn't play this card again. It's just not reliant enough. Or it's 2 slots in your extra deck for a maybe, and I've never been a big fan of that. And then since it was the sneak peek, normally I don't do side decks for profiles, especially this new into a competitive season, but since it was for the tournament, I'll show you guys. 3 Solemn Judgment for when I knew I was going first. This card saved multi-roll once, but it also paid half my life, and then I just got killed. So if I was playing a going first version of this deck, I'd probably play 2 Judgment, 2 Strike or something to help protect that multi-roll, but I don't know. There can only be one. This card was extremely good against Orcust and Danger Thunder. The game state just ended up resolving down to Hayate attacking over and over again because they just can't out this card most of the time. Pankratops put in a lot of work. It's as good as ever. And 3 Twin Twisters for generic back row removal, and then 3 Effect Failure. Nothing pretty crazy in the side. I just wanted to maintain, last format's thought process, and it paid off pretty well. Some cards I would continue to think about is Lancia. This card is, I just knew I wasn't going to be playing too many Orcust or Danger Thunder, but I actually played both, so what do I know? And for the rest of the deck, cards I would consider playing is definitely Be Cop of the Underworld. Because if you can just make it with 2 links, you contribute itself and protect your multi-roll. Or not with 2 links, with like Ray and a Dark Monster summoned off Shark Cannon or Widow Anchor, so it's pretty good. Then I'm testing the link bound thing, but again, I just don't think this deck has enough power to stand on its own anymore. And then consider Daigusa Emerald to not be so reliant on the equip spell to shuffle back Kagari. But if you're ever in that game state, you're probably winning, so I don't know. But guys, if you have enjoyed this video, this has been my going second Sky Striker deck profile for the July 2019 format. This is going up on my channel as well as the Duel Factory. Please check him out. We like to theory a lot together. We also do a Yu-Gi-Oh podcast every Monday. Goes up on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify at 8 a.m. on Mondays, and YouTube at 10 a.m. Except his channel when I forget to upload it, but hey, I got stuff to do. Peace out.